Welcome back to the She Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us again live. You're with us with our guest, Basia Krupa. Basia, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being with us because you're here with us too, which means that you can join this conversation and be part of this show from the comfort of your own home. And you can do that by calling us at 312-738-1060. That number can be found at the bottom of the screen. Do not be shy. We welcome you back, and we thank CanTV for giving us this platform. As always, we have been on the air since 2017, since this building opened here in the new location. And we are so excited to have our new ED help us with upgrading our website and the way that we communicate with you. So we are now live streaming. And if you visit our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net, you can always visit the rest of our previous segments by going to our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net and scrolling down through CanTV. We are now at season 12. Again, we've been airing since 2017, and there you can find, yes, CanTV's link. And again, there's a lot of really cool segments going on right now, live streaming every single night at 7 o'clock. So if you visit cantv.org, there we are, you can go to watch and then stream us right here, stream CanTV 21, and there you should be able to find us right now. And there we are. So right now we're on the air with you, so this is a little bit odd, but we thank you so much for being with us. And on Monday, we started a conversation with our guest, Basia Krupa, and we were talking about breakdancing. And we were talking about how breakdancing was announced to be part of the Olympics. So in 2018, the Olympics had the youth breakdancing. And now they just announced in December that they are entering a full-on competition for 2024. And we learned that Basia is here from Poland since the age of 25. And we learned of her roots and her passion towards breakdancing and this form of dance. And we learned of her migrating to Korea and China and living there and interviewing so many breakdancers such as Ken Swift and other pioneers. And it was Ken Swift who, many of you who are familiar with breakdancing, asked her, you know, have you interviewed Breaker Ray? And Breaker Ray is our Chicagoan, and he was just with us last season. So it's a great honor to have all of these members of these hip-hop communities coming together. Many of you have tuned in and learned much about graffiti history, and now we're learning about this amazing element of breakdancing. So Basia started writing for an organization that is helping with the Olympics in 2024, and she is now also certified as a judge. And tonight we are going to go a little bit deeper into two of the articles on the challenges of the pandemic in 2020. And then we're going to talk more about her interviews with these breakdancers and the judging system for the Olympics. So Basia, take it away. We're going to show here the challenges of the pandemic.
All right. Okay, yeah, so this is, I started writing about breaking at least 10 years ago or 15. But these are, so we're just going to focus on the latest two articles. So I wrote this one that the audience can see I wrote in 2021. And this was right when, after the pandemic, live events started reemerging. So obviously, the pandemic caught us all off guard, and a lot of artists, dancers, also. A lot of dancers live off of just traveling and doing competitions, and some of them, judging and hosting and things like this. So when the pandemic hit and all of a sudden everything got canceled, it was just a shock and a huge readjustment for the breaking community, not being able to be in person, like with your crew or with the people, sharing. Dancing is energy, so it's really not the same doing it online or through video. But as human beings and creatures of, we adapt. So so this was the event that I wrote about was actually a freestyle session. So freestyle session, the 25th anniversary is coming up like this year. That's in LA. But this event was in Florida and was also a qualifier for WDSF, so World Dance Sport Federation, for their national championship that was going to happen in China. And so it happens that two breakers from Chicago that I know happened to compete, and I got to interview them. So the article just gives a story of how they managed to train during the pandemic, how it was different, how they were able to, meet up and be at the gym. Because one of them, the brother, owns a gym, and they were able to, to train and enter some online competitions, So it's just kind of cool. It's that moment of like when everything was different. So this article captures the moment of their thoughts and their, efforts and their passion, regardless of these different circumstances and what they did to continue breaking and keeping the faith and then going to this championship and competing. These photos are from a photographer who's based in Florida, and I got to be able to, of course, with his credit and permission, use these photographs. So these are just really cool. So this article, for anyone interested in kind of just, getting a kind of just a window into dancing and breaking during the pandemic and how the scene changed, because it's just important transition what happened during that time. So here's Logistics, who competed, and Logistics just won Red Bull BC One last year, the world final in Poland. She's just top, athlete, dancer. She was also there. Okay. But what I always am happy about and take pride in is if I can write about Chicago dancers, because we're here in Chicago, so definitely representing and definitely being able to talk to our local dancers that are amazing. And one of these dancers now lives in Vegas, and he so he's doing some really cool stuff out there. But yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So we learned that during the pandemic, something very important that you said was that dancing is energy. So we've been talking about hip hop, and we've been talking about all of these elements and how all of these elements have share something in common, and that is that they all move. They all have a progression, they all have movement, and they all have an evolution. So what's happened is that we've discovered that all of the hip hop elements were somewhat underdogs to society, and now everybody wants a part of these elements, or at least wants to understand them, which can be a double-edged sword, right? So we're not going to get political, but we do want to stay true to what is going on. Some people are not supporting that these underground elements are being recognized in spaces like the Olympics. We can talk about why that is. You can call us and give us your opinion, but we are going to move on and talk about investigating for truth, which is what Basia has been focusing on. So let's move on to your second article and talk to us a little bit more about what you learned as a judge with the judging system.
Okay, sure. So let's just back up just a little bit. So so this article was a topic suggested by the magazine editor in 2021. Mm-hmm. I wasn't necessarily, ready or even wanting so much to write about the judging. Judging is a really complex and complicated topic. Obviously, the evolution of judging, there are a lot of different perspectives, there are a lot of different points of view when it comes to judging. But the way I saw the topic, I was like, well, if I am to write this article, I would like to take it all the way back, and of course, we can't talk about everything in one article. I mean, still, this is a pretty dense article. It's 5,000 words, so it's pretty long.
And just so that the audience knows, all the way that all of the competitions that had to do with emceeing or breakdancing were usually judged by the people, just by the crowd, just by the roar. So this is why this is completely different.
Okay, so and this is how I start. So, just really the premise of article, because through my conversations with dancers throughout the years and being an observer at a lot of competitions, I knew that, there's controversy. I also knew that it's not an easy job to judge, right? So I titled the article that, judging isn't easy. So regardless of an opinion, for, against, or whatever, judging or, your perspective or the Olympics, it's just not an easy thing to do. So developing a system that is going to be used in the Olympics was just a tremendous task. And I just wanted to make sure that, also when I was researching for the article, I did not see, I wasn't able to fully understand the system. I mean, there are some materials and they're being also developed now, but I was just like, I want to understand it, right? So, I mean, the article starts from, from sort of how it was, what you say, that the crowd was judging. So this is from the pioneers and the literature that's available. And then, there's some perspectives. So, like, with Ken Swift, when I talked to him, judging just kind of dug into my interviews and included that because it's really important that, to me at least, that all these perspectives, are there. And then, so before we get into the judging system that will be used for the Olympics, there were other perspectives and other ways to judge. The very common one that probably maybe if anyone has ever been to a breaking competition is unequal number of judges just, observing and then pointing to the winner at some point, right? So, but there was an attempt for an objective and unbiased judging system by Dizzy, and that was early 2000s. So he developed the system that was implemented at R16, which was one of the biggest battles, worldwide competition in South Korea. I happened to live in South Korea in 2009.
And R16 stands for respect. And what does the 16 represent?
There was 16 crews that were representing from 16 different countries. So that's what, yeah. So there is, there is an overview of what that system was, right? And
that overview, talk to us about that overview and then our system overview, please.
Yeah, so so our system, and now, this was Dizzy's system, but it was implemented and it was used. So there were 5 different sort of perspectives on, when people, dancers, think of breaking and what elements make it what it is, right? There's, of course, there's some disagreement, but also there's an agreement of what, a good round should be, or, who wins. Sometimes it's really obvious, but sometimes it's not. There are like a lot of intricacies into this. But basically, Dizzy's system was 5 different perspectives, and there were different judges looking for different things during these rounds. So, so let's say if I am a judge judging foundation, I'm only focusing on foundation. So it's in a way maybe easier possibly because you're not looking at everything at the same time, and I also made a lot of references in an article. I've been teaching university for 15 years now, so I've worked a lot with like just grading and grading system. So I try to relate it to people that aren't necessarily the insiders of the community and how they could I don't know what just happened, how they could understand it, right? So, so there's an overview here. There's a lot of controversy.
Wait, can you go back?
Yeah.
Now, you talked about 5 here. You went into foundation, but there's also originality and dynamics and execution and battle tactics. Do you want to talk to us about those?
I can. It's just going to get really technical, know, and so I probably wouldn't.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Are any of these, are any of these parts of the system used in the Olympics when you judge?
Okay, well, yes, in a different way, so that's why I'll relate it back to what it is, because of course originality is a huge part of, breaking and being different and unique or not repeating moves throughout the rounds. That's just something that's a part, that's like a keyword in a culture no matter what. It's originality. Like, every dancers want to be original. It's about creating. So, so definitely all of these elements in some ways some are in the new judging system. I mean, the one that's going to be used during the Olympics. Yeah.
Let's talk about originality. We see originality as something that's unique that hasn't been done before. But what if I just never saw anybody else do it before, but somebody else actually did do it before? On Monday, we showed a clip of Crazy Legs and Ken Swift on the Letterman show, and this was in 1983. And they talked about this. They said, you know, we see people out there and they're using our styles. So maybe somebody that sees these people that are using their styles never saw Crazy Legs or Ken Swift. So now they're thinking that those people are original. How do you calculate what's original?
I mean, yeah. So, you know, so again, this comes from, yeah, I mean, now sort of everything has been done, you know, so it's in a way repackaged, but what is different, you know, when you really think about you and your body and the way you move, like you can do, because people do the same moves, but because of who they are and their character, these moves look different no matter what, you know. So there could also be the combination of how they are put together. It's your face is important in breaking, your gestures, your, you know, your reaction to the opponent, because it's supposed to be a conversation. These rounds are a conversation, you know.
Attitude.
I mean, all of
Attitude and
this
style, right?
yeah, so I mean, you know, like, yeah, people will do top rocks in a different way, and they will do power moves in different way, and it's the same move, but it's, you know, it really, some people are faster, some people are cleaner, right? So I mean, all of this to someone who has been doing this is distinguishable. You can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just the reason I ask you this is because this is part of what we are doing. We are talking to you about history. This is part of the reason that you are doing such in-depth research, why you're going straight to the horse's mouth to share this with the public. This is what you're doing, and you're working on a book. When I was here with Oracle and we talked about presenting the graffiti history, I said it was important to me, and it still is, because Christopher Columbus did not discover America. And, you know, for many years, this is what they taught us in school. And, you know, it hasn't been up until very recent that we're recognizing that that's not what happened. So this is why it's so important to capture this history and to keep it raw and to keep it real. So again, we thank you for taking the time to go and interviewing these people, to talking to the pioneers and teaching us about the system. So let's talk a little bit about the actual Olympics and the way that they're being judged.
Sure. You know, so yeah, so just scrolling here, I mean, just kind of let the audience know what else is in this article. You know, there's like some of the discussions that were happening and some of the criticism of the, you know, our system. It was not immediately accepted by the community. You know, people have misconceptions. Some people are not informed and they're thinking this and why are people doing this? Is this for personal gain? You know, and then there's, I mean, Red Bull BC1 is one of the biggest international competitions. So there's a little bit about that. And then we get into the actual trivium system. So this threefold and trivium values judging system was used during the Youth Olympics. The developers of the system, the main developers of the system are Storm from Germany, so an icon in breaking, a pioneer also who's been, you know, keeping it all going and alive, like in Germany when it sort of died out here, at least in the mainstream in the US, and DJ Renegade, who's a DJ from UK. And, you know, so my opportunity was that there was a training seminar conducted by USA Dance, which is a you know, an Olympic organized World Dance Sport Federation organization in the U.S. And now they have breaking division, Breaking for Gold USA, and they were, you know, offering this seminar, which was open to the public, so anyone could take the seminar. You know, like you could sit on it, or you could actually then take an exam and get certified. It was a threefold seminar. So you know, threefold means there are three. Like three faders on the, I mean, let me get to this, I'll show. So this is just, this is a picture of some judges, and then as you can see here, it's also real time, so you can see how the judges are judging. You know, for the Olympics, we want to make sure that like audience is included and sort of in the know as much as they can, right? So people always want to see like, okay, what happened? Who won this, right? So keep up with this. So this is how it looks like, and then you know, so I explain and go into this here. So yeah, so this is about the seminar, and then it goes into these three main, right, categories, which have subcategories. So there's mind, body, and soul. And, you know, again, I'm not going to go into details of this because it is technical, right? But what was cool about this is that after taking the seminar, I felt like you know, and we got to practice a little bit on the system and the interface. It's just, you know, you log in, then you watch battles. What's really important, I feel like it's a highlight of the system, is that it's the two dancers in direct competition and just this competition only. So what it takes away is like, you know, your bias, your knowledge about the dancer, their reputation. Like, you know, what do you know? Oh, I know that this dancer is like, you know, top dancer in, you know, Kazakhstan, wherever, right? So I'm just going to vote for this dancer because I know. We're just looking, so the judges are looking at, you know, the performance and dancing in the moment, right? And they're immediately scoring, right? There are 9 judges. So it's as objective as...
You said there's 9 judges?
There's, for the Olympics, I believe there's going to be 9 judges, you know? So, I mean, so obviously, you know, like 3 and 9, that's much bigger number, right? So to be able to achieve as much, you know, objectivity, or, you know, even if there's discrepancies, you can still, you have a bigger number, you know, if it's 3.
So are they following the same system that they did in 2018 for the
Yes.
Youth Olympics?
Yes,
Okay,
so this is the same system, yeah.
Okay, so what is that system? It's novelty, affiliation, familiarity, and history?
No,
Is that what that is?
no. So the system, so this is right here. So you
The
have
mind,
these...
body, and soul?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
mind, body, and soul, because, you know, so obviously the body, I feel like it's probably the most obvious when it comes to dance, right? I mean, there's a physical quality to dance, right? I mean, everybody knows it's the movement. But then there's also, you know, like the performing quality, like how do you interpret music, and how do you actually perform? What do you do about the stage? How you know, how are you able to execute that, right?
And that's being represented by the soul?
Yeah, and then you know, and then there's the mind quality, right? So you know, so there's creativity and personality here, right? So I mean, so as you can see here, right? So of course, and then the system goes into actually explaining, you know, so if you're getting trained, it's going to be exactly explained to you, because also sometimes people understand creativity in a different way, even like what you described right now, right? Mm-hmm. So we're trying to achieve, and it's hard within arts, any arts, to be like, this is how I see this is what I understand as original, right?
Because beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so this is you know, so this is an overview. There's obviously, like, there's more material. Like I said, there's a platform now just was created for people that are interested, and I think that everyone who is interested in breaking, or you know, like how it evolves, should definitely look into this. I mean, it really helped me, and I'm glad, you know, I did it so I understand the system, not necessarily, you know, so I judge, but so I can explain it to others. And this seminar allowed me to do this. So this is, you know, this is an overview for anyone interested, and this is how the interface actually looks like, right? Okay. So when you're judging, when you're looking at 2 dancers, you have these faders and you move them.
Okay, so we thank you so much for sharing this article with us, and we are going to also share this article, both articles, on our website, so that you, audience, can take a look at them and connect with Basia if you have any questions or are interested in learning more. Many of you may remember B-Boy B. B-Boy B was one of the members from Family Resemblance, the evolution of Chicago-style graffiti, and he was recognized to be the first one, like B-Boy B, to carry that name. And B obviously stands for breakdancer or B-Boy. That's the B-Boy. So then we also had, he took this competition, this class with you. And
Yeah.
This is why I bring this up. So it's very good to become informed and know about that. And we want to remind you that you can join us on October 12th at Newberry Library. We will be speaking live with Pango and East. and we will be talking about the development of Chicago-style graffiti. And that's a free registration that's going to be available again on our website September 1st. And next week on Monday, I will be traveling again with East, but you will be here with us live again, and we were going to recap Pengo's interview that we had back in 2020. So you can become familiar with that interview with Pengo and be ready for this upcoming talk. So is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with as we wrap up this segment?
Yeah, just keep your mind open, and check out these articles or anything else you can find online, and see us in the Olympics, but also local communities. Like, there's still going to be local jams that are amazing, and you can see quality dancers, like locally, and they're amazing. I mean, we just had Battle for the Eagle, so there are other competitions. So yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.